All right, so we are going to move forward with the lecture on the endocrine system, and this goes with your veterinary medical terminology workbook. Um, it's chapter 11 and it is called The Great Communicator because it's all about hormones and how they bring the organs and stuff together. So, this is the endocrine system, chapter 11, The Great Communicator. So the function of the endocrine system is um, composed of ductless glands that secrete chemical messengers called hormones into the bloodstream. The hormones enter the bloodstream and are carried throughout the body on that superhighway, the cardiovascular system, to affect the variety of tissues and organs. The glands of the normal endocrine system are the pituitary gland, the thyroid gland, the 4 parathyroid glands, the 2 adrenal glands, 1 pancreas, the thymus, the pineal gland, and 2 gonads. The pituitary gland is located at the base of the brain, just below the hypothalamus, which we will learn about in the next unit, the nervous system. So this is a nice way to combine between the reproductive system and our next unit, the nervous system. The hypothalamus secretes releasing and inhibiting factors that affect the release of substances from the pituitary gland. The pituitary gland has 2 lobes. There's an anterior portion and a posterior portion. So you can see how the hypothalamus release factor production, anterior pituitary, the endocrine glands, the hormone levels go up and down. There's feedback. So it all works together in kind of a circular motion. The anterior pituitary gland secretions of the anterior pituitary gland, the thyroid stimulating hormone, TSH, the adrenocorticotropic hormone, ACTH. And you can see over here on the graph where they're showing you what organs each hormone works with. The follicular stimulating hormone, or FSH, works with the ovary. Luteinizing hormone also works with the ovaries and during ovulation. The interstitial cell stimulating hormone works with the testes and testosterone. Prolactin works with milk production there. And the growth hormone works on growth factors and developing of muscular and adipose tissue. And then we have the melanocyte stimulating hormone, and that works with pigmentation of the skin. So that is the anterior pituitary gland. Now on to the posterior pituitary gland. Secretions of the posterior pituitary gland. Antidiuretic hormones, or ADH, work with the kidney. So that's over here on this side, works with the kidney and reabsorption of water into the bloodstream. So you can take what you learned in the urinary system now and apply it to the reproductive system with ADH in the antidiuretic hormone. And then oxytocin. And oxytocin works with milk letdown, or the production of milk and letting it down after a kid is born. I'm talking goats. That's just because that's the last thing we had. Or a foal or a puppy or kittens. And then it also works with, oxytocin works with uterine contractions. So to expel the fetus when it's time for parturition or the act of giving birth. So oxytocin comes from the posterior pituitary gland, and that is that hormone. The thyroid gland is a butterfly-shaped gland that secretes the following. So T3, T4, and calcitonin. So that is the thyroid gland. That can have a lot to do with weight gain and stuff like that. So sometimes if people are having trouble, they check their thyroid gland and stuff. Parathyroid gland are usually 4 glands located on the surface of the thyroid gland. The parathyroid gland secretes parathormone. Adrenal glands, so with our ferrets, a lot of times they have adrenal gland tumors, so tumors on the adrenal glands, and it starts to affect the adrenal gland and how it can function. So adrenal glands are 2 glands. They are located on the cranial or the top part of the kidney, and they consist of a cortex and a medulla, similar to the kidney. The adrenal cortex secretes mineral corticoids, glucocorticoids, and adrenogens. The adrenal medulla secretes epinephrine and norepinephrine. Then the pancreas, so this goes back to the digestive system. We were talking about the pancreas is a gland located on the near the proximal duodenum. So that's the part of the small intestine, the first part, that has exocrine and endocrine functions. The endocrine function of the pancreas, maintaining the blood glucose levels, kind of keeping us at an even keel so we don't get those big spikes when we eat a bunch of sugar. And the pancreas secretes insulin and glycogen. The thymus is a gland predominant in young animals, located near the midline of the cranial ventral portion of the thoracic cavity. The thymus secretes thymosin. The pineal gland. The pineal gland is located near the midline of the cranial portion, or the central portion of the brain, and functions in maintaining the circadian rhythm. So that is your sleep rhythms, when you're supposed to be awake, when it's time to go to sleep. The thymus secretes melatonin. And melatonin helps animals and us in those rhythms. So yeah. The gonads are glands that produce gametes, so the sex cells. The gonads are the ovaries in females, and the testes are in males. Here are the ovaries again from our last lecture of the reproductive system. The female ovaries are the gonads, female gonads. They secrete estrogen and progesterone. Those are the 2 hormones that the ovaries secrete. Then you have the testes, are the male gonads, and they secrete testosterone. And that concludes our lecture on the endocrine system that goes with your medical terminology workbook. All right, thanks for listening, guys.